Greetings and welcome to this instructional video. Today we're going to look at dynamic data masking. It's a new feature in SQL Server 2016. Dynamic data masking allows us to mask or X out query results. The benefits: it can protect sensitive data, can be regulatory compliant, and is transparent to our applications, so we don't need to roll the site if we make changes in the database. It's easy to implement and use. It's configurable, we can do it on the fly, and the underlying data in the underlying tables is not changed. For example, let's say that you lose your Hotmail password. Microsoft will direct you to a page where you can have a link sent or a text message to your phone. They won't put the phone number in clear text. They'll mask it similar to this, where they X out, for instance, the area code and the last 4 digits of the phone number. We can do this in SQL Server 2016 now, very easily. Let's look at some examples. We're going to use the Wide World Importers database. We're going to create a table and then make the specification on a column for data masking, and then we'll look at some existing tables. Notice the credit card number column. It's set up for dynamic data masking using the default function. We're given 3 or 4 functions. We'll take a look at all those in a moment. Let's insert some data. And a little more data. Notice that I can see the credit card numbers in clear text. That's because I'm an admin. Let's go look at somebody with DB data reader only. Notice that the credit card numbers are masked. Let's look at some examples for some existing tables. We're going to look at in particular, the email address column in the application.people table. Let's mask that column, again using the default function first. Let's try the email function now. Notice that I don't have to unmask or alter the table in some way and then start over. I can just do it on the fly, change those functions. Let's try one called partial. Here I'm going to keep the first 2 digits of the email address, add in @ followed by 4 X's and a period, and then throw in the last 3. There's a random function that we can use for ints and big ints. Let's try it. I'm going to use the application.people credit cards table that we just created. Notice how the person ID now is masked. Let's drop the mask. Let's drop the mask on the logon name attribute. We never had that column masked, so we get an error. Let's look at some limitations and a few gotchas. I'm going to create a global temporary table. Why is the email address not masked? It's not masked because the administrator did a select into, and the email addresses, the data was put in the table in clear text. Therefore, any user that can perform a select statement on that table will see the email address in clear text as it was inserted into the table. Let's try a few others. Search name is computed. You can't add a mask to that column. A dependent column, likewise, you can't change that as well. If the column uses a key to a full text index, you can't mask that. Notice on the local temp table, though, I can mask the data. Good deal. Using the output clause, the data is masked. Let's create a stored procedure with execute as owner. Have to be careful on this one. Okay, so the data is still masked. Let's run the proc. Since we're executing as the owner in this case can see the email address in clear text. Therefore, this user, although not an administrator, can see the email address in clear text because of who is executing the stored procedure. This concludes the lesson on dynamic data masking.